Disease Control and Prevention from 2021, where it studied one case of melanoma occurred per 100,000. 1 per 100,000 black people compared to 30 cases per 100,000 of white people. Okay? What are the risks associated with skin cancer in black people? And we have some listed here. Also, a study was done in 2018. They used a focus group to evaluate the black and the Latino race. And many studies, participants perceive themselves to have a low risk of skin cancer due to a darker skin tone or a lack of family history of skin cancer. Black participants reported skin cancer symptoms more inconsistently than the Latino population. So we're gonna learn about some of the symptoms as we go through this, and that way you won't get it confused with some other type of symptoms. But a lot of symptoms and diseases can overlap, just like with colon. Or I'll give a better example, like with flu and COVID. If you have the flu, you can have fever, you can have cough, you can have chills. With COVID, you can have cough, you can have fever, and you can have chills. But you need to be able to differentiate as to which of those symptoms are you going to be diagnosed with for, say, COVID or for flu. So with this, some of the symptoms may overlap for other diseases that you have, but you'll know the specifics and you'll go get diagnosed. Can anyone in here tell me what type of doctor you would go to for if you have a mole or something going on with your skin? What type of doctor would you go to? What specialty doctor would you go see for that?
Dermatologist.
Dermatologist, that's correct. All right. Okay, gonna move right along. One potential risk factor of developing skin cancer is having a light skin tone. We talked about that. However, it's important to know that skin cancer can happen in skin of all colors, including dark skin. Okay, it says in here many times, black people don't receive a diagnosis until it's in later stages. Why is that? According to the American Academy of Dermatology, AAD, 22% of melanomas in black people receive a diagnosis after the cancer has spread to surrounding lymph nodes, and 14% when the cancer has spread to distant lymph nodes and other organs. So, in here, I'm going to have some information also that tells you how to do an exam, how to check your body, what to look for when you see a different spot or something on your body, what you should look for, okay? And again, we talked about, can other people get it? Yes, Latinos can get it, Asians can get it. Other races can get skin cancer and or melanoma cancer. Compared with white people, the rate of skin cancer in other people of color is lower. And again, however, it's higher than that in black people. Again, 10.7 per 100,000 Native American people. 1 in every 200 Latino people. 1.3 in every 100,000 Asian and Pacific Islander people. There are several types of skin cancers, but we're going to focus on the two common ones. And that's the basal cell carcinoma, and that one is more common in the Hispanic population and the Asian population than it is in the black or the African Americans. And the squamous, I'm just going to say that, SCC, because that is a tongue twister every time I say it. And that is more common in the black people and Asian Indians than any other population. The basal cell carcinoma, which is also referred to as the BCC, is also called the basal cell skin cancer or just basal cell cancer. And that starts in the basal cell layers, which is the lower part of the epidermis. And I have a diagram of that as well in this handout for you. And that's got usually on sun-exposed areas like your face, your ears, things of that nature, your head, your neck, and your arms. And the SCC, also called as the squamous, I'm gonna go for it, the cell skin cancers. the cutaneous squamous cell cancers, or just squamous cell cancers. These cancers, they start in the flat cells in the upper and outer part of the epidermis. So if you look at that diagram, where I have the picture of the epidermis, on your diagram where it shows you what the epidermis is, that's where the basal cell carcinoma. And it starts there in the lower part. And that's in the area of the face, the head, the neck, or the arms. You guys see on the chart there? Okay. In the squamous cell carcinoma, that one is in the upper outer part of the epidermis. And that's usually appears on sun exposed parts of the body, and that's the face, the ears, the neck, lips, arms, and back of the body. And this skin cancer on dark skin tends to show up more often in specific areas of the body, like the bottom of your foot, and you'll look through your page. I have some information in there that shows you where those are. Your lower legs, in the palms of your hands, under your fingernails, your toenails, or in the groin area. And on this next printout I have for you, shows you the difference between the basal cell and the squamous cell carcinoma. The basal cell carcinoma is one type of dermis cancer that can affect the body when it meets harmful sun rays. That's like the direct sun. And the other one is the squamous. I feel like I'm like echoing. Do I sound like I'm echoing to you guys? No? Okay, it sounds like an echo to me. Okay, the squamous cell carcinoma is also a dermis cancer. And that one is from ultraviolet light rays that fall on the human skin, such as like the tanning beds and things of that nature. Sun beds, sun tanning beds. Now, so you like to have a question, or you just, okay? Okay, I think the next page I have where we're going to look at our handout for the lung skin cancer. You see this one? It's a separate one. On this page, it talks about the risk factors. Exposure to ultraviolet UV rays, having light-colored skin, your age, the gender. Women are more likely than men to get it before the age of 50. And men are more likely to get it after the age of 50. Go figure. Okay. Also, another risk factor is having a weakened immune system, or moles. People with moles and those with large or irregular. And on that next page, when you get to it, it'll show you. I have a graph on there about the various types of moles and spots that you see on your skin, and I'll go over that as soon as we get through with this one here. If you have a family history, whether your parents, brother or sister, or children who have had melanoma, you may be at a higher risk. Okay, and higher risk that applies, like we say, for instance, you get colon cancer. If you have a mother, father, sister, brother, again, your chances of detecting or having this type of cancer could be one of the risk factors. Prevention. It says on here from the American Cancer Society, there is no sure way, to prevent skin cancer, but you can limit your exposure to ultraviolet UV rays. Always seek shade this time of the year when you're outside in the garden, or if you're out, try to wear long sleeve, long pants, put you some gloves on. The time they tell you to avoid when the highest UV rays is between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. So if head with a wide brim hat, that shades your face, head, neck, and ears. I like to see one of those hats. I haven't seen one of those. But that's what they say. It's going to cover your face, neck, and ears. You should avoid sunbathing, tanning beds, and sun lamps. Uh-oh. We found a little humor in that. Not us, huh? Okay. As with anything, what I always tell you guys, early detection. So when you see something that's not right, if you don't have a dermatologist, go to your primary care doctor and let them, look at it, and then they'll advise you or recommend that you go see a specialist. In this case, you will go see a dermatologist. Okay. Signs and symptoms, we talked about those.
Excuse me, Laura.
Yes, sir.
Before you leave that, why do we know why it's becoming more common in younger people?
I'm going to say that it has to do with those tanning beds and all of those things that they didn't have back then. But again, that's still don't have a reason.
Yep.
And speaking of you asking questions, a question like that, why is it happening more and more in younger people? Colon cancer is happening to more and more younger people.
Wow.
And I was reading a paper from one of the epidemiologists with the Mississippi Department of Health, and there was a study, I think it was over in Switzerland or somewhere. It had something to do with the type of chemicals that they use on the plants over there.
Oh, wow.
They were seeing it were older people. We used to always say colon cancer was an old person's disease, but now it's happening more and more younger people because the screening age was 50 and now we're trying to get down to 45. But that's still out, so I can't say that is so, but that was a research that they did over there. So we just have to be mindful of, again, what we put in our bodies.
No doubt.
What, in this case, what we put on our bodies.
I have a question about the moles. You said something, people with many moles and high risk of cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a big one.
You have a big one? Okay.
And they removed it, it came back.
Okay. The dermatologist removed it and it came back.
So
They removed it and they sent it out and they had a biopsy done, correct?
Yeah.
And it came back benign.
Then,
Still So you wanna follow back up, how long has it, when did it resurface?
sorry, what?
When did it resurface?
Oh, it was a few years ago,
A few years ago? Okay.
and it's bad. I mean, it's bigger than it was when they removed it.
Did you speak to your dermatologist about it?
I wouldn't have said thought about it if you had said about something else.
Well, what'd you say, Pastor? Somebody tonight might just be here for the reason. Okay. Please follow up with your dermatologist. You're gonna have a remind her that Brother Kincaid. Okay. Make an appointment to go in and have that checked out. Okay, the color on dark skin, African Americans, people with dark skin, it may appear to be a dark brown color, purple, or ashen gray or black. And on this page here, where it talks about the normal moles, did you see that? What you need to look for. The color, the shape, spots on the moles that may be cancerous are often different in shape than other spots and moles on your body. And you'll see on this diagram that I have here what the normal mole looks like. And then one that's melanoma is asymmetric. You see how that looks? The difference in those, look at that chart. You see the difference in what a normal mole looks like up here, but then with the border, when the edges of the mole are irregular. The color. You see the color of how this one looks. And then the discoloration of the mole throughout. Also, you want to look at the size. Someone said it came back bigger. So you want to call your dermatologist.
But it looks like a normal one.
If it's evolving, in other words, if it's changing in size. This is what it looks like normal, but then if it's changing, if it's evolving, it's changing in size, so it's moving around and getting bigger in more than one area. It's not the same.
I didn't know whether, I thought it was skin tag, I didn't know they said it was skin tag or something. And I kept getting them and they kept coming, and so I went, there was this another top down in the house, and I just called them, got their phone, and I got them. Well, some of them they froze off, and some of them they burned off. So, I got them all off.
Okay.
But she said, she took a test of them.
Right,
She said
they
they
removed them and did a biopsy, and
Yeah,
said about.
so she said that they wasn't malignant or anything, but she said it was okay to have them removed, so, I didn't even leave them scarred.
Okay, well, that's good.
What's the difference between a skin tag and a mole?
A skin tag,
Has a tag on it. It is, a skin tag has that little thing that it just kind of sets off your face, and every time you wash your face and you move your arm, you feel it. It's got, it just, to me, mine just kept growing, and it was just noticeable to me. So I don't know anybody else noticed it or not, but I did. So, and then I had one right there, and then I had another one right here, and had another one right there. And so I decided, with my doctor, I told him, they went up for me to have them taken off. So that's what I saw, that's what I thought, that's what the doctor said they was skin tag.
yeah, a skin tag is usually like, it's kind of like a floppy, a mold, you're not gonna be able to move that mold back and forth. A skin tag is, and most people can just take and rip their skin tags out, but you do not do a mold like that. I don't recommend you do a skin tag like that, but I'm just saying, I've seen some people that just don't do it.
Skin tags are, like you said, more surface. A mole is deeper, it's gonna have roots. So that's one of the differences. And with skin tags, if they're not that big, you can actually use tea tree oil and they'll fall off.
Okay, all right. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next page. Can people prevent skin cancer? Yes, you may be able to prevent skin cancer. Choosing shade, as I was saying earlier, try to stay in the shade if you can when you're outside doing something, take as many shade breaks as you can. It says on here, exposure to UV rays causes many types of skin cancers. If you're outside, try to stay out of direct sunlight. Again, and I talked to you about the times when it's the UV rays are at the highest, and that's between 10 a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. Wear sunscreen. If you're going to be out in the sun, make sure you wear sunscreen. Selecting a water resistant if you're going to be doing something that's going to cause you to perspire, sweat, or if you're getting in the pool or at the beach or something of that nature. You want to make sure you choose the right type of sunscreen protection. Applying your sunscreen about 15 to 30 minutes before you go outside. That allows it to soak better into your skin. A lot of people just want to put it on their face, you want to protect your face, but if you're going out to the beach or if you're going out picnicking or whatever, skinny dipping, you want to also put it on your hands, your feet, anywhere where sun can get to your body, okay? Suitable clothing, we talked about that. The long sleeve shirts, pants that are long, wide brim pants. Get you some sunglasses that have that UV protection if all possible. And another way to prevent is to check your skin. Performing a thorough check of your skin. If you want to look for the spots or bumps that are irregular in color, size, or shape, just like I showed you, just like on that diagram we just had where it talks about the difference, what you see normal and what is not normal. Okay. And how you can check your skin. On this chart right here, is your skin looking good? How you can do a self-exam. You know, you go to the doctor, you can say, look, this is what I've been seeing this, it appeared, it's getting bigger, it's changing color, whatever it is, let your doctor know. But this is how you do a self-exam. And you might want to take this page right here, and take it, put it in your bedroom, your bathroom, so when you shower, get ready for bed at night, you know, do a self-exam on yourself. And as I was saying, look at your feet, the spaces between your toes and your soles, because with African Americans, it's in different places. More so African American in these areas than it is in the face of the arms. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Yes. Under your foot, this still gonna look like one of the moles in those pictures?
It could, but if you know that you have a spot underneath under the sole of your foot, it should not be there if it's just a spot. But then if it start changing colors, or if it start changing shapes, that's when you want to go see your dermatologist.
I got something on my foot, it's kind of like a skin tag when we're describing, and I can peel it off, but it comes back. It's just a hard piece of,
Okay. Have you ever thought about going to the dermatologist?
like this.
I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I wear it out. And I have a saying, it's good to be alive, but it's best to live. So I go check out any and everything. You removed it, and it came back. She removed it, it came back. Then they advise you strongly to go see your dermatologist. And they could tell you all this now. I used to get bruises to come on the inner part of my leg. My sister was thinking it was this, it was that, and so I would go to the doctor. They would just come up out of nowhere. And kept saying there was nothing wrong. They checked my white blood cells and all that stuff. And if I ever get my white blood cells, go to a local or certain now to come in and see, make sure it wasn't leukemia or something like that. You know, they had me kind of freaked out. They're telling me all this stuff. But I go to the doctor. So I'm just going to advise you to go to the doctor, the dermatologist, and they'll know what's going on. Any other questions that I might be able to answer?
You know, it's glad you talked about cancer among the people of color, because most people of color don't believe that they can get skin cancer. They always think it's somebody else. So when they go out on the tractor, you know, working in their yard, they don't realize that they too can get skin cancer. They think it's somebody else's disease, but it's.
Yes, we can. Yes, African Americans, we can. No matter light skin, dark skin, we're all prone to it. So let's just do what we can to protect ourselves. However, the Anglo or the white nationality, they're more activated than the African American. We saw the stats that we pulled from the American Cancer Society. We got some information from our epidemiologists at the health department.
Has it always been like this with last, even that low percentage, has it always been, has it been something recent?
I don't know. I can only go by the stats that he gave me. I guess I could have asked him to go back, say 20 years ago. This was off of the latest one. I think they did one in 2021.
Okay, so I have a question. You mentioned earlier that when people of color, when the cancer is detected, it's a lot of times in later stages. And then you said that people of color don't get skin cancer as much as other races. Could it be that there's a correlation between that? Like maybe it's just not being detected? You think is it harder to detect on darker skin maybe?
That could be a possibility. And it also could be that they think it's nothing. And that's why it's diagnosed at a later stage of life. Or it could be some other things. They don't have health insurance. Can't get to the doctor until something is really wrong. And that happens not only with skin cancer, that happens with a lot of, sicknesses that we have. A lot of people, don't realize that they have high blood pressure or diabetes or things of that nature. They just push it off to something else. But they haven't been to the doctor. Why have they not been to the doctor? Because they don't have health insurance.
So it's possible that black people get skin cancer at a rate higher than you think, it's just not being detected.
That is true.
Before I was just saying to my wife, if you go to Canton and ask, you know, what's a dermatologist?
I don't understand your question.
I'm just saying, I didn't learn the word dermatology until late in life, right? And there are probably a lot of young folks, and, you know, just our people who don't use dermatology, right? And there's a good chance that, you know, the studies that are being done, they're getting the information from dermatologists and folks, right? And we're not even having any interaction
Have
with
any
those
idea.
people. Yeah.
Right. That's true, Pastor Bacon. Again, knowledge. We have to get the
Yeah.
information out there.
Yeah.
It's up to us to tell our children, to tell our grandchildren, to talk to our neighbors, to talk to whomever about it.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of Latrice. She takes a lot of the information that we give her and she puts it out at work. Because you never know who doesn't know.
Right.
Who doesn't know?
Is skin cancer as malignant as the other cancers? Can it spread?
Metastasize other parts of the
Yes.
body? Not from what I've been told. And I don't have anything behind my name and I specialize in that area. Not to be funny, but just to be real and give you the most honest answer that I can. I'm not for sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Now we're gonna move on. Key takeaways. Pay attention to your body. Those of you that may have come in late, but you can see it in your meeting. Your skin is the largest organ and the heaviest organ of your body. Because you think you got skin everywhere. All over the body. The skin is the largest organ. And remember, cancer can show up anywhere on the skin. Any in your body. If you notice an area that is concerning, regardless of the location, be sure to contact your dermatologist. We're going to protect our bodies by limiting our exposure to ultraviolet rays, such as the sun, direct sun especially. Avoid sunbathing, tanning beds, and sun lamps. For those of us that have little small grandbabies under 6 months, make sure you protect them when they're out in the sun. Put a cap on their head, long sleeve, or if you have them in not the stroller, what's the little hand carry on there? My baby's 38 years old. The carrier. Cover them up with a little sheet or a blanket or something. Pull that little shade back and keep that sun off of them. It's very important. I'm rusty on that area. So make sure you protect your little ones. You're going to try to avoid the sun between 10 a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. as much as possible. I know we have to get out of some of us go to work, some of us want to get in our gardens, or whatever we're doing. Maybe perhaps our job is calling for us. Some of us may be construction workers or, we're carpenters doing that type of work. We're just trying to protect yourself as much as possible. You use some sunscreen on your face, and if you have long sleeves on, make sure you have, if you don't have long sleeves, put you on some sunscreen. And try to get the one that's 30 or more. And if you're going to be out in the pool and at the beach, make sure you get one that's water resistant, okay? And I have pictures here of how some of these people are protecting themselves. This first picture with the African Americans, the guy does have on a long sleeve shirt. The little girl has on sunglasses. And of course, they are at the beach. And the lady or the wife, she has a wide brim hat. But she doesn't have it pulled down to where she can cover her face, keep the sun off her face. So hopefully they have some sunscreen on. But then look at the Anglos. They have their sunglasses on, they have on long sleeves. And then the two little kids that are playing in the sand, they have hats on. And then the other little girl, she has long sleeves on and a hat. Y'all see that? So We have to protect our little ones. And then these two little guys, they're playing in the sand. They don't have any shirts or anything to protect them, so I hope that their parents put some sunscreen 30 or higher on them while they're playing. And then this one, he's just taking it in. He has on a cap and long sleeves. And some pants. Yes. So, all right, on how to select sunscreen. I have a chart here. The broad spectrum. It tells you about which one you need. So, and they come in different forms. You get them in lotion, gel, cream, foam. And I have some sunscreen. I'm gonna bring it out for Saturday for you guys. Okay. Make sure everyone that's in here, make sure you sign in so you can get first dibs, okay? Huh? He wants some of the powder. Yes, ma'am. I've seen it in a powder form, but I prefer the gel or the moisture, the cream form. And,
It says on the butter, if you have butter.
I have no idea.
Shea butter?
I don't really shea butter. Not shea butter.
Well, it's the African told me that they use shea butter.
But does that shea butter have sunscreen? Or for sunscreen
That's what he
protection?
said, in Africa, that's what they use on their bodies all the time. And I didn't ask about skin cancer, but I wonder what the rate of it is.
What type of protection it has? Doesn't even have sunscreen.
Yeah,
If it does, what is the rate? You can get sunscreen at 15%, 20%, but you want to get 30 or above. Okay? So I don't know what that butter is.
Skin cancer.
Ma'am?
I'm not gonna put the rate of skin cancer in Africa. Because that's
I don't have those stats.
Laura, you know what the difference between the UVA and UVB? For the labels on the sunscreen? For the protection. But I know one is ultraviolet, I think.
I don't know what it is.
When you have sunscreen on, does that mean it's okay to stay out longer with the sunscreen, and you still should limit sun exposure?
You still should limit your sun exposure as much as possible, with or without sunscreen. And when you put sunscreen on, every 2 hours, I think it is, or every, what does it say here, 40 to 80 minutes, you should, if you're still out, you should apply some more, reapply some sunscreen. You know? I learned that when my kids went swimming, they took swimming lessons, and they told that. Any more questions on that? Anything else?
I'll just say that, the difference between UVA and UVB, the UVA is what causes aging, because it penetrates deeper, and UVB is what causes burning. It's the top.
Say that again?
It burns the top. The UVA penetrates deeper, so that's what causes like wrinkles and aging. And then the UVB is what causes sunburn. Like it's more, it just penetrates the top.
I don't remember that. You said you're gonna use both?
So I need both.
Okay, so skin cancer awareness starts with each one of us, with you. And I came up with a little slogan, I scream, you scream, we all scream for sunscreen. And I have a picture here, everybody. So I had hands of different nationalities on here. Any and everybody with skin cancer. Melanoma. And so, I say change can't wait. Alrighty. You guys have this little sheet here that's what's your sun safety IQ. I have 9 giveaways up here. So, let's ask these questions, and if you answer, raise your hand. The first one that get it right, Michelle, I'm gonna have you to let them choose what it is and give it to them. Okay. First question, true or false? Raise your hand. I can't get skin cancer because my normal routine, such as drive to work, hobbies, or vacation, doesn't include a lot of time outdoors. Sorry, false. False. She's correct. The next question. I should use sunscreen at football games even though I only go and get burned once or twice a year. Sandy? Okay. No, that's not false. That's true. If you lost out on somebody getting their prize, because I done burned it out. Everybody can give us something. Okay, third question. If I'm wearing sunscreen, I can stand the sun as long as I want. False, that's correct. I got these questions from the American Cancer Society. I was going to do something from the page, but I said, well, you know what? We'll just go with these. Next question. A sunscreen labeled SPF 15 blocks more UV radiation than anyone labeled SPF. First name, false. That is correct.
That was true?
That is false. How often do I need to reapply water-resistant sunscreen? How often do I need to reapply water-resistant sunscreen? It's okay.
Every 80 minutes, that's like every 2 4 hours.
How often do I need to reapply water-resistant sunscreen? You said every 2 hours. So the options are every 2 hours, after sweating or swimming, after I towel dry, or all of the above. All of it, okay. Want to go back to number 5? Okay, so let's go back to number 5. Oh, I missed number 5? Okay. It's safe to let my children stay in the pool all day if they slip on a t-shirt after a couple of hours and reapply sunscreen to their faces, arms, and legs. Brother DK? You sure? Yes. Okay. I was just checking. Okay, thank you, Pastor, for catching that. Okay, number 7. Getting a base tan at an indoor tanning salon is a good way to prevent sunburn when I go to the beach later this summer. That's false. That is correct. Okay, number 8. What are some of the most common and painful sunscreen mistakes? Who said I was above the back? Now, put it all together. You apply your sunscreen at 12 o'clock, noon, for an afternoon of reading beside the pool. at 2:00. Which of the following actions would best protect your skin? Anybody? Thank you.
Real problem.
Say what? Now put it all together. You apply sunscreen at 12 for an afternoon reading beside the pool at 2:00 p.m. Which of the following actions would best protect your skin?
Move to the shade.
There you go, Susan. It says, while all three actions may help getting out of the midday sun is the best choice in this situation. Seeking shade is a key element in preventing skin cancer. Remember I was saying that at the very beginning. If you get in the shade, get in the shade. Even though you have to be out between 10 and 3 or between 10 and 4, shade is better than sunscreen or even long sleeves. Okay? Well, we have one more because I've blurted out something. So let's see here. Raise your hand if you know this one. What is the largest and heaviest organ of the body?
Skin.
All right. The skin. Some of you may have received the May 2026 calendar. The month of May is considered Mental Health Awareness Month. So happiness and forgiveness calendar. I put some of these in there. If someone did not get one, let me know. I can make some more copies and drop some off. You didn't get one? You didn't get any? Do we have any more of them, Michelle? I did about 25, I thought. No? Okay. All right, I'll bring some more Sunday. Saturday. Probably not Saturday, Saturday, I'm gonna focus on that sunscreen. And I might be dropping the sunscreen off early to somebody. But I would have to try to do this. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. And as I always say, invite someone, share your information with someone. And as the spiritual song says, I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. So I want my brother and my sister to be healthy, happy, and whole. So please share the word, spread the word. Next week, we'll have a speaker, and they're going to speak on diseases of the
And for Andy, the legend of the second.
next week, we'll be speaking on bladder and kidney. What's the difference? A lot of people think bladder disease and kidney disease are the same. I have a bladder problem, so it's going to be a kidney problem. So we're gonna dive into that next week. And I should have Sister Jenny Wells back to speak with us next week. And I'm reaching out, and I was telling Pastor, I'm just gonna share with you. I'm trying to get some different speakers and some different things. We're gonna have some things for just for men. So let's try to pull more men out. At the coffee shop, at the donut shop, whatever, just invite them out. I don't want to sound like we just keep on beating over their head, but we can see here tonight, we all learned, something from somebody telling us something, and from what you saw in the literature. So knowledge is power, so let's try to use that.
You know, it's interesting, you said share with somebody, but just last month, I was talking to my brother-in-law and my sister. He was saying that, he had been out of the sun, and the kids had, they were here, he got the sun, he came back, just failed, this occasion. So he was all flustered with her, she said she was getting on for not wearing the sunscreen. And so he told her, I keep telling you, you need it too. She said, black people don't need it. So he said, she really thought that he was the only one that needed to put it on. But I told her, I said, that's not true, said, so.
And you got something
Now I
back
got
there?
something to back it up and send it to her too.
Okay. All right, as you guys need to go, there's going to be, a light meal that will be in the kitchen area for you guys. But on your way to the kitchen, each person can grab one of these off of the table. It is you go to the beach, you go outside, you put your sunscreen, some water, something in your other shades. And I also have something on the table about skin cancer. You can take a look this up, and make it a good one or something. Okay? All right, well, that's all I have. Again, I thank y'all for being dedicated and showing up. And I'm gonna turn it over to the hands of the pastor and let him give us our closing prayer. Amen.
All right. So we know how to dress when you go to the car now?
Somebody who fight us so hard, he said, put on some long sleeves.
Well, I couldn't do that while I was sitting for, I had to go and cut the grass before sleep.
But what about golf?
You need your notes. And your sunscreen.
They're not gonna do
And
it.
I could be dressed up, so I'm on the morning. Yeah. Thank you for information. I pray that every one of us learned something new this evening. And I incorporate it in our lives. I do that too. Yeah.
Every part in the bottom, you gotta check your bottom and your feet and every part. Amen. I saw one. I saw that woman. We're sticking back there. Amen. Okay. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for our time tonight. We praise you for allowing us to sit and discuss things that happen in our skin, in our body, how we can prevent, save cancers, and how can we be able to live healthier lives. So, Father, we just thank you for the information, for the board, and for giving her the insight, the eagerness to share with us. So help us, Lord, to take it in. The Bible says when we hear the word, we have to do it, and then to share it. Bless the food, and may it nourish our body. In the name of Christ, we pray. Thanks to you. Amen.